And this is the fun part. I get to say why I came back to this work. Because I have a really huge, really a lot, like in the thousands of clients in my past, and then had a bout of being away, and I'm really grateful that I get to come back to this work. Some of the stories I can tell you, the people that I've worked with, are profound for me. And it explains why Advanced CranioSacral Therapy is so much more than what is, it's hard to even describe. But telling you, for example, a BC ferries captain that had been to many different kinds of therapies and specialists, he had double vision. And I worked with him with my Advanced CranioSacral Therapy. Sure enough, he's back at work. That's pretty awesome. And ones that make my heart just, I actually cry with some of these ones about children. A little boy that was 9 years old at the time, and he was suicidal. His mom and his grandma brought him to me in the summer. And he came in with big ugly boots and big thick glasses, and the little boy had been in an accident on his trike, hit by a car. I think he was 3 or 4 at the time. Well, if you know that craniosacral therapy works with the connective tissue, this fine part of the system that, well, it's like the stringy part. When you take out the insides of the chicken, there's that stringy bit. Well, that's the connective tissue. That isn't seen in x-rays. So in this little boy, my hands in this work, I can see he's got restrictions, and his body's still almost holding the injury. We released and we released, and we worked all summer, and by the fall, this was real busy summer, that little boy was able to get real shoes. He got realigned, his glasses changed, he got better vision, and he was such a happy little boy. It was like awesome. And on the note of a little boy, I'm thinking about one that doesn't live far away. He's now 20-something years of age, and at that time he was 5-year-old, and his parents, highly educated people, a grandfather that was a medical doctor, and they thought my work was woo-woo. But the mom was willing to try anything. He'd been diagnosed autistic. I went to his house when he was asleep because he was angry and lashing out. His room has only got a mattress in it because he's destroyed everything in his anger. And I'm working with this little boy when he's asleep. And I don't know if things are changing. His mom says they are, and I go after, late at night. And this one particular day, this little boy's awake, semi-awake, and I think, oh boy, because he gets, he's a history of hitting people. I put him on my knee. He's 4. That's how old he was. And I was working with restrictions in his face because I could feel them, and there's a little joint here. And I'm holding his nose, and we're talking like as light as a feather. And up came his hand, and I thought, uh-oh, because he's sitting on my knee. He's going to whack me. He touched my hand, and he moved me just a fraction, not even a fraction. And there was this huge release. And I knew, he knew, at a place, there's a wisdom in us that knows what this work is about, and that's what we're seeking. I went out of that room when I was finished with that little boy. I thanked him, and I was crying with gratitude for this connection. And his mom then showed me pictures of his birth, and it was a black and blue baby. Now listen, if you were in a barroom brawl and you ended up black and blue, you'd hurt, and you'd have restrictions, and you'd have problems. Why do they think a baby that's had a bad birth isn't going to have trouble down the road? Well, that little boy became a BMX racer, perfectly normal at school, on at university. The work speaks for itself. I got stories that I can tell you about animals, wonderful, wonderful, loving animals. They know what I can do, and they'll come and put themselves at my feet and ask me to pick them up. And then they show me where they want me to hold them. And it's all the same. Connective tissue gets stuck up. The cerebrospinal fluid needs to move. I was telling you about the fellow that came, and he was having back injury problems, and his mother said he should come to me, and he didn't say a word to me, not a word. And I'm saying, well, so after his first session, I'm just asking for change because I can't actually see what's going to happen in your body as a result. I can see what the problem is. And he's so, all right, what difference do you see? Oh, nothing. So he gets on the table, and I'm working with him, and he said, well, my hearing came back. He lost his hearing in an accident, childhood accident, 20 years before. And you see, if you understand that the cranial nerves are so fine, and if there's pressure on them at 0.3 millimeters of pressure, that's going to restrict the way it works. So that can mean numbness down an arm or a leg. That can mean things like people are saying, oh, I've got carpal tunnel. Now what about where the nerves are coming from? What about the issue up here and in the cerebrospinal fluid and in the system? I'm not sure how many others. I could give you hours and hours and hours of happy stories. People that flew to see me. There was a man, actually, the grandma brought these two boys out here, teenage boys from Germany. And then there was another man that came from Germany. People from all over North America. It was quite common to have people fly in. I flew. I had an office in Alberta, and I'd fly there and work pretty steadily, like really steadily, really a lot, 4 days in a row, and then I'd fly back home. I was really doing a great business at the time that I needed to leave my work, and it was for my own health reasons, and I've learned a lot because of that, because I didn't take care of me. I was making a big difference for a lot of other people. So now I'm here, and I'm back with these wonderful skills, plus the wisdom that I've gained in the years that I've been away in terms of self-care and being kind to ourselves and to each other. And that's showing up in my work. I just had a native elder the other day say that I was talking to his wife, and he said, you know, this was a week later, when you held your hand on my shoulder just while you were talking, he said, I had a pain leave here, and it hasn't come back. And that's not me as such. That's the wisdom of two human beings coming together. And with the world of Cranio, there's just this thing that we do together. It's not woo-woo energy work. It's actually happening. The cerebrospinal fluid is helping, and the rhythm of the body is coming to a place of peace. And we end up with mental, emotional, spiritual, physical things all being resolved to a place where the person can be more of who they really are. As I said many, many times when I learned about this work, and I've been working at this level my own self, I want to clear out whatever's in the way of me being who I really am. And I get to help you take out the slivers in the being. Thank you. Come see me. I have a website that's creatinghealthfreedom.com. I'm on Facebook, Marian Roper, spelled with an A, Marian, Marian Roper, and a Facebook page at Cranio Sacral Therapy, Advanced with Marian Roper. And be delighted to chat with you and see just if we can't make a difference for you too. Thank you.